Working capital. What is working capital? We all know that for conducting or running a business, we need some money in our hand always. This money we will use to run the business. That means to meet the day-to-day expenses of the business. So the amount that we keep in our hand or availability is there for just converting into cash at any time is our working capital. And the working capital, which itself is broadly classified into two concepts. One is gross working capital and other one is net working capital. Gross working capital is the investment in current assets. What are current assets? Current assets are assets which are converted into cash within an accounting year. That means their existence will be there in our concern within 1 year or maximum for a period of 1 year, during which they will be converted into cash. Say examples: raw materials, work in progress, finished goods, debtors, prepaid expenses, say cash, bank balance, etc. This concept is called quantitative concept of working capital. So gross working capital is also called quantitative concept of working capital. So according to gross working capital is the total of current assets. Then we go to net working capital. Net working capital is the difference between current assets and current liabilities. Like current assets, there will be some liabilities in our business which we have to repay within a short period of time, maximum 1 year. So these liabilities mature within a period of an accounting year. Say for example, creditors, payables, outstanding expenses, short-term loans, etc. So the difference between current assets and current liabilities we call net working capital. Now we may go to some problems on working capital. First one you can see here: calculate working capital from the following under gross working capital and net working capital concepts. So we are given current assets rupees 1 lakh. We are also given current liabilities rupees 50,000. So answer would be gross working capital concept. It means total of current assets. We have total current assets 1 lakh. So gross working capital is 1 lakh. Then as per net working capital concept, we already studied that it's a difference between current assets and current liabilities. So here it would be 1 lakh minus 50,000 is equal to 50,000 is the answer. So gross working capital 1 lakh and net working capital 50,000. We may do another problem. Say calculate working capital of A Limited according to gross working capital concept and net working capital concept. We are given some current assets and some current liabilities which are not in clear order. Say stock. What is that? Stock is an item of current asset. Dividend payable. All payable items within a short period of time are your current liabilities. So dividend payable, current liability, say 50,000 is there. Tax simply means tax payable, it is 40,000, so current liability. Temporary investments, we have investments which will mature within a short period of time, within 1 year, so that's called temporary investments, 80,000, that's also current assets. Say debtors 1 lakh, definitely it is current asset. Cash balance 80,000, current assets. Short-term loans, we have loans which we have to pay within a short period, 50,000, it comes as current liability. and last item creditors, that's also current liabilities. Now looking into the solution, we can see say total of current assets. Out of this we first calculate total of current assets. That means the sum of stock, cash, debtors, temporary investments. These are all current assets here given. The total of these current assets, say 20,000 plus 80,000 plus 1 lakh plus 80,000 comes 2 lakh 80,000. Like that, we also find out total of current liabilities. Say we have creditors, short-term loans, tax liability, dividend payable, etc. So creditors plus dividend payable plus tax plus short-term loans, it would be say 1,55,000. So coming to the answer, what is gross working capital? Now gross working capital is equal to total of current assets. We got 2,80,000. Here also gross working capital now comes 2,80,000 is the answer. Then what is net working capital? Net working capital is the difference between current assets and current liabilities. Our total of current assets say 2,80,000. Our current liabilities 1,50,000. So the difference is 1,25,000. So net working capital is 1,25,000. Okay. So this is the way of finding out gross working capital and net working capital. Now a problem is here given for your solution. Say this problem you have to solve as per gross working capital concept and net working capital concept. Here you can see some items are current assets and current liabilities. Some assets are long-term assets and long-term liabilities, or we can say fixed assets and long-term liabilities. So while calculating the gross working capital and net working capital, you have to avoid those assets which are long-term, or we can say fixed assets. You have to avoid. Like that, on the liability side you have to avoid long-term liabilities. Okay, so after avoiding all these two items, you take all the current assets, find its a sum, take all the current liabilities, find its a sum. Gross working capital is the sum of all your current assets, and net working capital is the difference of your current assets and current liabilities. Okay, thank you.